What happens when a prince tired of royal treatment faces one of Britain's toughest morning hosts? Someone unafraid to cut through titles, privilege, and excuses. The result was nothing like the polite chat Prince Harry might have expected. What unfolded on the Lorraine show became one of the most explosive interviews in daytime television history. A battle of wills so intense that producers nearly cut the broadcast mid-air. The studio looked as it always did. Warm lighting, a cozy set designed to put guests at ease, and Lorraine Kelly's signature warmth radiating across the room. The audience clapped politely as Prince Harry walked in, dressed in a tailored suit, his expression sharp and serious. He offered only a curt nod before taking his seat. Lorraine leaned forward with her familiar smile, opening on friendly ground. "Your Royal Highness, welcome," she said, in her smooth Scottish lilt. "It's a pleasure to have you here." "How are you feeling this morning?" Harry shifted, jaw tense. "I'm fine, Lorraine. Let's just get on with it." The words were clipped, almost dismissive. Lorraine's brow arched, but her composure held. She'd handled tough interviews before, and recognized when a guest came in defensive. "Well," she pressed on evenly, "our viewers are eager to know what's brought you back to the UK. Many were surprised to see you return, given how openly you've spoken about leaving. So let me ask you directly, why now?" Harry let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "Is it really such a shock, Lorraine? I came back for the Well Child Awards. A charity event. Something that actually matters. Not that it's anyone's business why I'm here, frankly." The sting in his words hung in the air. Lorraine's smile faltered, replaced with a steady seriousness. The audience, sensing the shift, grew quiet. "Of course," Lorraine replied calmly. "Charity work is important. But you must understand why people question your presence. You've made such strong statements about long wanting distance from Britain and the royal institution. Some might see this as contradictory." Harry leaned back, crossing his arms. "People see what they want to see. That's been the problem all along, hasn't it? No matter what I do, it's twisted. I can't breathe in London without someone suggesting it's a betrayal or a contradiction. Maybe the real problem isn't me showing up, Lorraine. Maybe the problem is the obsession with my life." The defiance in his tone was unmistakable. Lorraine adjusted her seat, still poised, but no longer trying to mask the growing tension. "All right," she said, her voice firmer now. "Then let's talk about the other side of this. You've built a new life in America. Many people are curious. How does it compare? How is life there versus here?" Harry smirked, almost enjoying the provocation. "Well, let's just say it's better. Far better. I have freedom. I have control. I don't wake up every morning with the British press ripping me to shreds. So yes, it's a better life by every measure." The words cut through the air with a brutal honesty, but they carried an arrogance that Lorraine couldn't ignore. "That's a very sharp comparison," she said, her tone crisp. "So, you're saying your life in Britain was worthless? That nothing here mattered?" Harry shrugged, leaning forward now, his voice rising with conviction. "Did you hear what I just said? I said it's better there. And yes, better than being suffocated here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. People can call it disrespectful, but it's my truth. I'd rather be seen as rude than sit here pretending I miss what destroyed me." The audience gasped softly. Lorraine's team in the control room exchanged glances. This was escalating fast, and they were only 10 minutes into the segment. Lorraine's professionalism held, but her warmth had cooled. "You know, Harry, one of the reasons you have always fascinated the public is because you speak so candidly. But I wonder, do you realize how these words sound to people who looked up to you here? To people who supported you, admired you, even sympathize with you?" Harry gave a dismissive wave of his hand. "People will think what they want, Lorraine. They always have. But let's not pretend sympathy puts food on the table or protects my family. I've done what I had to do for Meghan, for my children, for myself. And if some viewers feel disappointed that I've spoken plainly, that's their problem, not mine." The arrogance was unmistakable now, a sharp edge that seemed to slice through Lorraine's usual calm. She leaned forward, meeting his gaze directly. "Then let's be plain as well," she said. "You're here in Britain, a country you've said brings you pain. You've chosen it to sit in this chair on this program, and whether you like it or not, people are watching, and they're forming opinions, not just about what you've done, but how you carry yourself. Do you care at all about that perception?" Harry's lips pressed into a thirst line. "Not anymore. I've wasted too much of my life caring what strangers think. They never cared about me. Not really. So why should I care now?" For a moment, there was silence. The audience shifted uncomfortably, caught between admiration for his bluntness and unease at the contempt in his tone. Lorraine held a stare, determined not to flinch. "Wells," she said finally, "that's certainly one way to look at it. But I think our viewers deserve more than contempt. They deserve honesty, yes, but also respect." Harry leaned back again, crossing his legs. "Respect is earned, Lorraine. And frankly, after everything I've been through here, Britain hasn't earned mine." The studio fell utterly silent. Lorraine took a slow breath, her eyes narrowing just slightly. The temperature in the room had shifted, and everyone watching could feel it. The conversation was no longer polite, no longer safe. It had become something else entirely. A battle of wills, with each side determined not to give an inch. And it was only the beginning. The cameras stayed locked on Harry's stern expression, the Duke of Sussex unmoved by Lorraine's challenge. The studio air felt heavy, as if every breath carried the weight of something bound to explode. Lorraine adjusted her posture, smoothing the papers on her lap, as though she were giving herself a silent reminder. "Stay calm, stay steady. Don't let him rattle you." "Well then," she said, her voice level, though the Scottish lilt carried a sharper edge. "Now, since you're here and being so forthright, let's speak plainly about something else. There have been a lot of rumors swirling, Harry. Stories about your marriage. Meghan is in California. You're here in London. People are whispering. Some say there's distance, that perhaps things aren't as perfect as you want the world to believe." Harry's eyes narrowed instantly. He leaned forward, almost bristling. "Rumors," I said coldly. "That's all they are. And frankly, Lorraine, I'm shocked you'd even bring that up. You, of all people, should know better than to feed into tabloid garbage." Lorraine didn't flinch. "With respect, Harry, people are talking about it everywhere. And I think our viewers would want to hear your response directly, not filtered through newspapers or gossip columns. Are theorems true?" Harry's voice rose a notch, his tone filled with disdain. "Absolutely not. Meghan and I are fine. We're stronger than ever. And anyone who buys into this nonsense is either willfully ignorant or desperate for drama. It's insulting, really, that I come here to talk about important issues, and instead I get asked about made-up fairy tales." The audience exchanged awkward glances. Lorraine pressed her lips together, studying him carefully. "Harry," she said softly but firmly, "the fact you're so defensive suggests the rumor struck a nerve." Harry shot her a glare that could have cut glass. "You don't get top psychoanalyze me on live television, Lorraine. You don't know my life. You don't know my marriage. What you're doing right now isn't journalism. It's character assassination dressed up as curiosity." The temperature in the studio dipped again. Lorraine exhaled slowly, keeping her composure. "Then let's shift gears. Your book, Spare, made headlines around the world. You shared very intimate details of your life, your relationships, your grievances, but critics say it didn't sell as strongly as expected after the initial wave. Do you think perhaps the public has lost interest in your version of events?" Harry's laugh was hollow, tinged with contempt. "Lost interest? No, Lorraine. The truth is, people didn't understand it. They weren't ready for it. My story isn't simple. It's layered, it's complicated. And when you're trying to educate the world about trauma and legacy and systems of oppression, well, not everyone's intelligent enough to grasp it." Gasps rippled through the audience. Lorraine tilted her head slightly, her eyes narrowing. "So, you're suggesting that the reason your book didn't perform as well as expected is because your readers weren't intelligent enough? Harry smirked, his voice dripping with arrogance. If the shoe fits. The audacity of the remark sent a wave of murmurs across the set. Lorraine's patience was wearing thin now, and the mask of morning show warmth began to crumble. She leaned forward, her tone sharp. Harry, do you hear yourself? These are the very people who supported you, who bought your book, who cared enough to listen, and your response is to insult their intelligence. Harry shrugged, unbothered. I'm not here to pander to anyone. I'm here to tell my truth. If some can't handle it or can't understand it, that's their problem, not mine. Lorraine pressed on, unwilling to let him slip away. Let's address the monarchy then. You've spoken endlessly about breaking free, about rejecting the system, and yet so much of your relevance, your platform, your very career is built on that connection. Do you see the contradiction? Harry scoffed. Contradiction? Number, the monarchy is irrelevant to me. I don't wake up thinking about Buckingham Palace. I don't dream about William or Charles. I live my life. I've moved on. What's hard to grasp about that? Yet here you are in Britain, Lorraine said crisply. Still talking about it. Still profiting from it. Still tied to it. Whether you admit it or not. Harry's jaw clenched. His voice sharpened to a near sneer. You think I need them? I don't. I'm free of that circus. I'm not their puppet anymore. Whatever money or fame people think I have because of the monarchy is irrelevant. I've carved my own path. Lorraine let the silence hang for a moment, her gaze steady. Then she struck. Harry, you're not a prince anymore. You've made that choice. But the way you sit here today, defensive, arrogant, dismissive, it looks less like freedom and more like bitterness. Many believe this behavior stems not from independence, but from envy. Envy of William. Envy of Kate. That's what people see. Do you deny that? The studio erupted in murmurs. Harry froze for a fraction of a second, his face tightening. His jaw worked furiously as if he was chewing on words too sharp to spit out. Finally he spoke, his voice low and venomous. That's a cheap shot, Lorraine. Dragging my brother and sister-in-law into this, suggesting I'm jealous. You think you can sit there in your chair and psychoanalyze my life like you know anything about what I've endured? You're out of line, Lorraine sat back. Unflinching, out of line are simply telling you what many already believe, that you've made bitterness your brand, that your attacks on the family you left behind are more about resentment than truth. Harry's face turned crimson. He leaned forward, pointing a finger at her. Don't you dare! Don't you dare reduce everything I've been through to jealousy. Don't you dare speak my brother's name like you know what happened between us. You have no idea, Lorraine. None. And frankly, this interview is becoming a joke. The audience was silent now, the tension thick and suffocating. Lorraine's voice, however, was icy calm. Then perhaps we should end it here. Because if this is the only tone you can manage, contempt, hostility, arrogance, then there's nothing more for us to discuss. This is morning television, not a therapy session, and certainly not a platform for you to lash out at anyone who questions you. Harry's eyes blazed. Maybe it's best if you do end it, Lorraine, because I won't sit here and be spoken to like this. Not by you, not by anyone. Lorraine straightened her papers and looked directly into the camera. Then let's call it, this interview is over. Thank you, Prince Harry, for joining us. Harry ripped off his microphone, his movements jerky with rage. He stood abruptly, muttered something inaudible under his breath, and stormed off the set. The audience remained frozen, watching the spectacle unfold live. Lorraine sighed deeply, turning back to the viewers with a strained but professional smile. Well, she said softly, I think that speaks for itself. We'll be right back after the break. The screen cut to commercials, but the moment was already viral. Within minutes, clips were circulating across social media, sparking furious debate. And just like that, a morning interview had become one of the most explosive showdowns in television history. The break should have given everyone time to cool down. But when the cameras came back, the tension was worse than before. Prince Harry had reluctantly returned to his chair after an intense backstage huddle with his team. His jaw was clenched, his cheeks flushed. Lorraine sat across from him, poised as ever, though her eyes betrayed a flicker of steel. "Welcome back," Lorraine said, her voice measured professional. "Before the break, things got heated. But I'd like to continue if you're willing, Harry." Harry crossed his arms and leaned back, his tone dripping with disdain. "Fine, but I won't sit here and be ambushed. You want honesty? I'll give it to you." Lorraine gave a polite nod. "Good. Let's talk about perception. Many people feel you've built your public identity on tearing down your family, the very institution that gave you your platform. They wonder, without the royal connection, would anyone care about your opinions? Would anyone buy your books or your shows?" Harry let out a sharp laugh, shaking his head. "There it is again, the same tired narrative, as if I have nothing to offer beyond my last name. Do you realize how insulting that is? I've served my country. I've been in combat zones. I've worked on mental health initiatives. But all you people see is the spare." Lorraine tilted her head. "And yet you titled your book Spare. You leaned into the label yourself that was reclaiming it." Harry snapped, owning the narrative before others twisted it. "But clearly, people like you still don't get it," the audience murmured. Lorraine pressed forward, her tone firm. "Harry, I think what people struggle with is this contradiction. You criticize the monarchy, the tabloids, the system, yet you continue to speak about it, profit from it, define yourself by it. If it truly doesn't matter to you, why not let it go?" Harry's voice grew sharper. "Because letting it go doesn't erase the damage. You think I can just move to California, plant some avocados, and forget the years of manipulation, the lies, the press campaigns? No, Lorraine, some wounds don't heal just because you want them to." "But at what cost?" Lorraine pressed, her voice rising just slightly. "Every time you speak out, every interview, every book chapter, you reopen those wounds, not just for yourself, but for your family. Doesn't that matter to you?" Harry leaned forward, his eyes blazing. "Don't lecture me about family. Where was that family when Meghan was suicidal? Where was that family when I begged for support and protection? They left us to fend for ourselves. So don't you dare stand there and ask me to worry about their feelings when they never gave a damn about ours." The air went heavy. Lorraine didn't blink. "Harry, nobody is dismissing the pain you've described, but the way you speak, the arrogance, the dismissal of anyone who questions you, it alienates people. You don't just sound wounded, you sound bitter." "Bitter," Harry repeated, his voice rising. "I'm not bitter. I'm realistic. I've seen the truth of that institution. I've seen how it chews people up and spits them out. If telling the truth makes me sound bitter, then so be it." Lorraine folded her hands, her tone unyielding. "And yet some would argue it's not truth you're telling. It's your truth. Selective, curated, profitable. Because every time you speak, Harry, it's attached to a book deal, a streaming contract, a stage. Doesn't that make it performance, not truth?" Harry slammed a hand against the arm of his chair, the sudden sound making the audience flinch. "Enough with the lectures, Lorraine. You sit there on your cushy morning show pretending to care about truth, but all you want is headlines. You're no different from the tabloids you pretend to condemn." The studio went dead quiet. Lorraine's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "The difference is, Harry, I don't profit off painting myself as a perpetual victim. I ask questions. You, on the other hand, attack anyone who doesn't bow to your narrative." Harry's mouth twisted into a sneer. "You think you're clever, don't you? Sitting there, pretending you've got me cornered. But you're just another cog in the same machine I've been fighting my whole life. The only difference is you do it with a smile and a Scottish accent." Gasps rose from the audience. Lorraine didn't flinch. Her voice stayed calm but firm. "And you're just another man so consumed by his own anger that he can't see the damage he's causing to himself, to his family, to his legacy. You're not dismantling the monarchy, Harry. "You're dismantling yourself." Harry froze, the words cutting through him like ice. For the first time, he didn't immediately snap back. His jaw tightened, his fists clenched, and his breathing grew heavier. Lorraine leaned in slightly. "You want to be seen as free, as strong, as independent. But what I see sitting across from me is someone who still can't let go. Someone trapped. Not by his family, not by the monarchy, but by his own rage." The audience held its breath. Harry's lips parted, but no words came out. His face flushed crimson, and his eyes darted toward the cameras, toward the millions watching. And in that moment, the image of the confident Duke cracked. He looked smaller, cornered, and utterly furious. Lorraine, sensing the moment, softened her tone just enough to sting. "Harry, you don't need a crown to be a prince, but right now, you're not acting like one at all." Harry shot up from his chair, towering over her. The audience gasped as he ripped off his microphone again, his voice trembling with rage. "This is pathetic. You're pathetic, and I don't have to sit here and take this." Producers scrambled off camera, trying to salvage the situation. Lorraine remained seated, her expression unreadable, watching him with a mixture of pity and resolve. "Then maybe it's best we pause here," she said calmly, "because clearly you're not ready for this conversation." Harry glared at her one final time before storming off set, muttering curses under his breath. The sound of his footsteps echoed through the silent studio. Lorraine turned back to the camera, her professional smile finally cracking into something more somber. "Well," she said quietly, "I think our viewers can draw their own conclusions." The screen faded to black, but the damage was already done. Social media would feast on this for weeks, and Prince Harry's meltdown had just entered the history books. The cameras kept rolling even as Prince Harry disappeared backstage, his microphone clattering onto the studio floor. The stunned audience whispered among themselves, the tension still thick in the air. Lorraine sat perfectly still, her hands folded, her composure unshaken. A producer leaned in from the wings, whispering frantically, "Do we cut to commercial?" But Lorraine raised a hand gently, signaling to keep going. She turned to the camera, her voice steady, her Scottish lilt carrying a weight of finality. "Viewers, I want to apologize for what just happened. Live television can be unpredictable, and today we saw emotions boil over. But I stand by my role to ask difficult questions, even when the answers are uncomfortable." The audience gave a cautious round of applause, not for drama, but for her calm control in the aftermath. From backstage, a door slammed, echoing faintly through the studio. Harry was gone. Lorraine exhaled slowly, then looked directly into the lens. Perhaps what we witnessed wasn't just about one man or one family. Perhaps it was about accountability, honesty, and the courage or refusal to face them. Whatever you think, I believe today showed us that titles don't shield anyone from the truth. The closing theme music swelled. The broadcast ended not with polite smiles or light chatter, but with a lingering sense of history, a royal walkout, a host who refused to bend, and a nation that would be talking about this moment for years to come. What do you think really happened here? Did Lorraine go too far, or did Prince Harry simply show his true colors on live television? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unbelievable celebrity showdown.